Hi everybody, this is Marilyn and I'm going to show you the Icord cast on in case you're not familiar with it. It's pretty easy once you see it, but it's kind of hard to understand if you're just looking at it for the first time. So you'll start with a slip knot, or you'll start with just a long tail cast on. You'll cast on 3. And then what you're going to always be doing is knitting these 3 stitches and then slipping them back to the left needle, and then knitting them and slipping them. And that's going to make an I-cord. The challenge with this comes from after you get your I-cord done, picking up those stitches. So I'm going to just make an I-cord quickly of about maybe 10 or 12 stitches to show you. And you'll want to ultimately have about 120 stitches in your I-cord. If you have more, it's not a problem. If you have fewer, it is a problem. So if you start looking at your I-cord and you lose track of how many you have, don't worry if you have 125 instead of 120. You can actually skip picking up a few of the stitches and it won't make any difference. It'll still lay flat and you won't have any gaps in your work. If you have too few stitches, it will pucker, so be cautious about that. So let's start with our I-cord and get that going. Okay, I'm not going to turn my work. I'm simply going to slip these stitches back to my left-hand needle. And yarn is coming from the left-hand stitch. When you're ready to work, you know that you'll be working this correctly. If you haven't worked an I-cord before, it feels a little bit weird, but trust me, it'll work. So we're just going to knit 3. Now we're going to slip these 3 back to the left-hand needle. So that's 1. You're going to do that 120 times. I'm just going to do it a handful of times so that you can get the idea of what we're doing. And you can see my I-cord is really starting to form here. Okay, I'm going to knit a few more on and I will meet you when we are ready to pick up stitches. Okay, now we're ready to pick up stitches. So I have knitted my last 3 and I'm not slipping them back to my left needle at this point. All I'm going to do is turn this 90 degrees and I'm going to pick up stitches along one column. So things to be aware of. First, you're going to want to pick up full stitches. So if you're looking in this I-cord, you can see there's a column of stitches here. I'm going to pick up both legs of a stitch. I'm not going to just pick up one leg. So that's the first thing. So I'm just going to pick up and knit into both legs of that stitch to create the stitch. I should have just done it with one needle. Here, I'll just do it with one needle. So I'm going to go into both legs of that stitch and knit the stitch, and that's going to add 1. So as a note, the 3 stitches that you knitted just before you picked up stitches, those count. So those are going to become your I-cord edge on the right side of your shawl. So that's stitch 1. We're going to pick up the next one in this column. This is stitch 2. The second important thing to remember is an I-cord will twist. The longer it gets, the more it will have twist in it. Make sure when you're picking up these stitches, you're picking up stitches all along the exact same column. Otherwise, you will not get a clean I-cord bottom. So you're going to pick up stitches all the way across your I-cord, and you're going to pick up and knit 121. I'm just going to pick up and knit until I kind of get to the end of my little tail here. When you pick up and knit 121, you're probably going to have 1 or 2 stitches left on the end of your tail, and that is what you want. Otherwise, your tail is going to create a puckered corner. So you can see how I'm following the exact same column of stitches when I pick these up. Okay, we're going to say that that's my 121. And now I've got 121 that I've just picked up. I had 3 more on the needle. That's 124. I need 126 on the needle. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick up 2 into this tail. So if you have extra stitches down here, you can pick up 1 extra stitch, but make sure that the last stitch you pick up is literally in this tail down here. It's not a stitch on top. Otherwise, your I-cord is going to end up sitting like this instead of giving you a nice little curve around the corner like that. So that, pick up until you have 1 stitch left, and it doesn't matter where you pick them up in the tail. If you're picking up around all in different places in the tail, that's perfectly fine. But I'm just going to kind of pick up right here in this tail. And so that would be my 126 on the needle. And then at that point, you can turn the work over, and then you will actually set your I-cord edges. So this becomes the bottom. You'll turn your needle over, and then you're going to knit 3, purl to the last 3, and then slip 3 with yarn in front. And then you'll be ready to set up your lace.